Hi, this is Neil here from the Dirt Floor Workshop. Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about the steering on the 10RB. Now there's three types of faults that can occur. There's wear and tear and dirt and general stuff like that. There's man-made faults, and there's the factory inefficiency. Now, when it comes to man-made faults, I've seen a few of them. People think that the way to make the thing work is to bend this arm. So they heat this arm up here. I've seen this arm here, they heat it up and bend it. They change the size of these rollers here. They put different size rollers, bigger rollers and smaller rollers. And the reason they do that is because they look under here and the clutch is disengaged. And they think, well, it can't turn because the clutch is disengaged, so we need to change these arms, or change when these arms to try and make the clutch stay engaged for longer. But what they really should be doing is, instead of worrying about the clutch, they should be worrying about the brake. If the brake came on, if the brake was working properly, the machine would have turned when the clutch was engaged, but it couldn't because the brake wasn't working properly. So you need to read the instructions carefully about when to adjust the brake, and you need to make sure that the brake has got the capacity to stop that track so that the machine can turn. Now, the reason the brake won't do the job, there's a number of reasons why it won't do the job, and you're going to need to pull the brake out. If the brake isn't working, you're going to need to pull the brakes out. Going to need to put new linings on or clean them. And the other problem is this spring that the factory put on is too weak, and a lot of people take the spring off, throw it away and put a piece of pipe on there. Now the pipe can work, but the trouble is, because that cam is only a casting, it's not a precision machined item, and the brakes need to come on at 3 different positions around that cam. So if you just put a pipe there, you can't get that to work in 3 different positions on a casting. The only way that it worked, the reason the factory put a spring on here is because they knew that the casting had limitations. But the trouble is that the spring was a little bit weak, and I solved the problem by putting a stronger spring on there. And how did I fit the stronger spring on? Well, it's pretty difficult because there's not much room in there to put a bigger spring on. So what I had to do was I machined a cap here that had the hole off center, and the base, the little plate that goes in the base in there, I machined that to just fit in there, and machined it off center too. I'll show you what those parts look like. And by doing that, by taking the brakes out, cleaning them, putting this stronger spring on and adjusting everything, I was able to get the machine to turn. Now, as I explained in my last video, I put this little flag here so that I could see what was going on from the driver's seat. I could see whether things were working, when they should and how they should. Without that, you're really in the dark. Unless you put a camera under there or a flag on, or keep hopping out of the seat and climbing underneath, you won't know where the cam is and what it's doing and whether it's doing the right thing or not. I'll just show you this little spring. That what I did was the cap. You can see that I've machined the hole off center. The spring is much bigger than the one that was supplied with the machine. And the base, what I've done is I've machined the hole completely. It's off center, so I can just push this in. Just push this in and just fit it in, and I can have the spring fit on top of it. And that's how I solve the problem of steering, getting the 10 RB to steer. Thanks for taking the time to have a look. Bye.